at 8 a.m. on all business platforms. That's the Facebook and YouTube channel. A very good morning and welcome to Biztalks. So sorry we have started 10 minutes late. We are sorry about it. But however, we just had a small technical hitch, but we're back. Welcome back to Biztalks. This is MC and I'm glad to have you. In the house is an amazing man that I always admire because he's a champion when it comes to matters SMEs, and he runs an amazing organization that I've personally benefited from, by the way. If you remember when we had a conversation about how to start and just form a business strategy. Now it came from somehow indirectly from him, and I'll tell you more about that. But we have in the house Joram Mwinamo. Karibu sana, Joram.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, it's good to have you, man. Yeah. You're long overdue. I had been saying we need to have Joram here because of what he's doing. But now that you're here, and it's good to start, it's good to see you here. I can see you guys popping in and watching. So please, if you know that you're watching us, please click on that share button, as well as let a friend get to know that we are live and we are really having this conversation. How to grow your business, attract and keep your customers. Isn't that not the nut in everyone's business that we are having to talk about? So Joram, thanks a lot for coming. And before we get to this subject, I have to let my viewers, normally I know they will ask, why today you're not serving Joram tea? I served him when we had a technical time thing going on. Yeah. Let's first of all start. You are the CEO of Sandbox. And as I said earlier on, that could be a term that sometimes people would be like, what is all this about? For the sake of the people who are watching this for the first time, would you care to let us know what this Sandbox is?
It's all about, Sandbox was actually the culmination of a long journey. A lot of people keep asking, where did you get this idea from? But it really was something that evolved over time. So I used to run a company called Wild International, which still exists. And I was the CEO of that. And Wild, does strategy consulting and largely for SMEs and entrepreneurs. And so as we used to do a lot of strategy work, our clients would keep requiring, other professionals down the line for other things. And so when we realized that, our complete solution would involve having many other professionals on board, we started to actively put them together. And so beyond strategy, we would partner, say, with a lawyer, with a tax consultant, with HR, marketing, and we just, brand and that kind of stuff. So we kept bringing together professionals who we could refer our customers to. Then eventually we thought, look, we are serving the same customers. Why are we in different offices? And then came the idea of having a one-stop shop and coming all under one roof. So that's how it built up, and that's how we eventually ended up having what we are now calling the Sandbox, SNDBX. That Sandbox without the vowels. A Sandbox is a place, if you think about it, where kids play and all this creativity happens.
In one
but also in the technology world, a sandbox is where you can test new ideas in a safe space before you launch out into the real world. And so we feel like we are that safe space where entrepreneurs can come and get people who can help them think through their ideas. So today we have 33 different professionals at the Sandbox, including Wild, and another 33. So anything you're looking for, governance, legal, IT, marketing,
all that in one place.
All that in one place. That's what
it's actually the biggest headache sometimes. I'm an entrepreneur myself. And, just setting up systems, you all of a sudden you realize, oh, I need an accounting system. I need a HR system. I need to do some PR. I need to do all these kind of things. So you're saying this is open for any entrepreneur who's beginning. They can come in there. And they have a soft landing, first of all, as they figure themselves out, right?
Yes. Also, not just beginning, but even those who maybe have been around for a while and are looking to grow and scale. So we work through the entrepreneur life cycle, from startups to growing businesses to those who are scaling, and then even those who are going into like family business, trying to hand over to the next generation. So we cover the entire cycle from beginning to end.
Man, I think this is purely commendable. And I think if you're an entrepreneur and you're watching and wondering, oh, how do I figure out my systems, all those kind of things, I think it's good to tell people that, I had Chris here. Chris, you work with Chris. And Chris came here and talked about how to build a business strategy. After talking about it, I was like, hands up. I need one as well.
Yes.
You know, I need to get I need to get my directions well. And I must admit to everybody who's watching, it's been about 6 months of working together with the team that you have.
Yes.
And it's amazing. There's clear focus, clear direction, saying no to many things and yes to the right things. And I know entrepreneurs, that's sometimes one of the challenges you have. Sometimes there are many good things. Some of them would distract you.
Yes, exactly. You know? I think maybe one of the biggest fights I have with Kenyan entrepreneurs, because somewhere in our journey of entrepreneurship as a country, people came to believe that, you know, putting up multiple businesses side by side is a means of, is it diversification or risk management? But, you know, look at all the wealthiest people in the world, they run one business most of the time, right? You know, you look at your Bill Gates, your Warren Buffett and all these people. They were in one line all along, and it helped them build more wealth than they ever needed, and now they can go and invest in other businesses after that. So sometimes when you're focused, I mean, they're serial entrepreneurs as well, but for most people, when you're focused, you're able to, you know, create a robust business, because there's a lot of things that go into a business, and when you're doing two side by side, you know, if both get into trouble at the same time, then that's when you realize, you know, when they're both doing well, it's great. But when they both get into trouble is when you realize things can get really, really big.
You're right.
So we tell people, you know, get some clarity, get some focus, and grow that business. Then maybe later when this one is stable, you even know what to do strategically with the second or third business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I like the fact that you have amazing comments in everything we're saying. So this is going to be a free flow, because, you know, I told people we're talking about the SME landscape. Of course, there's a quick focus, which I want us to jump into. Growing one's business. You know, I mean, it's always someone's desire. It's the dream. I want to see myself scale up to these levels and the likes. I like the word scale because I know you have a scale-lizer something.
Yes, we have a program called Scale-lizer.
I know. So what would be your quick, I know there could be a lot of things, because this is a course that you trade, so I know there's a lot and we can't cover it in an hour. What could be your quick thoughts first to anyone who's watching today, and you want to tell them, listen, there are certain things you need to look at when you're thinking about growth of your business to scale it up? Over to you, coach, if I may use that word.
I think it's interesting, and it might actually go very counterintuitive to what people, you know, may expect me to say. I think a successful business boils down to one thing. It's that, do you have a good product or service? And not just a good product or service, but also one that is differentiated, because we live in a world where many people are trying to do many things. So in any time you step into doing a business, it's highly likely you're going to have other people competing with you, or other things competing with what people would pay you, which is even more interesting, because sometimes your competitors are not always direct. The easiest example is the way, you know, Safaricom is probably one of the biggest financial services company, but banks didn't see it coming. So sometimes you may be in a business, but people are consuming your product or service in a different way, and you need to be aware of that. And so for success, you need to start off with, do I have a product or service that's meeting a need or a problem, and not just doing it in a normal way, but probably a unique way that my customers are looking for. Because if you're not differentiated, if you're just like everyone else, it puts pressure on your pricing, because people always have someone else they can compare you with. So you have to find a way of making yourself different, of building your product or service in a way that's different, so that you lock in loyal customers. Because if people come and they experience buying a product or service, you know, from you in a unique way that they can't get anywhere else, then it's highly likely that they're going to be loyal. It's also likely that you can potentially charge higher, slightly higher, and they don't go away, because you know,
they are loyal
move away from you. They don't get the same experience. So they're just like, you know, let me just go back to that guy. Even if it was a bit more expensive, I'm willing to pay that for the unique experience that I get. If you look at what we do at Sandbox, we have 33 businesses, 33 different professional services under one roof. So you can imagine, if I get someone as a customer and they come and they experience the legal and the brand and the HR, are they ever going to go anywhere else?
No way.
To get the governance or some, you know, because it's such a seamless. So that was one of the things we did to differentiate our business through partnerships and collaboration. And so you can always think about unique ways to build, things into your product or service that make you stand out, that, make you, we call it stickability. People stick to you once they start working with you because you give them good quality service, you give them a good product, and you give them an experience they can't get anywhere else, and then they'll be loyal. Okay.
I like the fact that you are also a product that you're offering, and you're a business by yourself.
Yes.
It's one way to look at it, And I think that stands out because I think you've addressed what I wanted to ask you, because some people will say we have similar products. I mean, getting into a market where the products already exist. But I like the fact that you talked about your uniqueness, looking at your uniqueness and the satisfaction you're giving your customers, so that at least they can always feel, I want to stay back here.
Yeah, I mean, we say even if, say if I was to start a normal business today, and I'll give myself a challenge and go for, say, I became an M-Pesa agent today. I can just have that M-Pesa shop and, put the green and whatever it is, and that's it. And people come, withdraw money, deposit, and go. But I could think a bit further. Maybe I'm in an area where people need something unique. Maybe beyond M-Pesa, they want to, send money internationally or receive money internationally. So on top of the M-Pesa, I can add, say, international money transfer where I can receive from, abroad or something, and have all these services. So the important thing is look at your customer and ask, I am giving them a product or service that meets this one need, but what else happens around that particular need that I could also build into my product and be able to offer more than just the normal. Right. So if I was able to, or say those customers that come to my M-Pesa shop like to buy a certain type of thing every time. They're coming to withdraw money so that they go and buy a certain thing. Can I bring that thing in-house into the M-Pesa shop? Wow. So you end up becoming so differentiated. So even if there's 10 other M-Pesa shops, but I'm meeting that unique need of why they're always withdrawing money, then you find that they'll always come to me because they know here, I'll only do one step. If I go to any other, I'll do two. And those are simple things you can do to differentiate your business, even in an industry that already has so many other players.
Okay. I'm thinking here because, you're also talking to me as an entrepreneur, so definitely I'm here saying, okay, what's going down, eh? So the other question then would be, okay, I have my product. I believe it's amazing. I've gotten feedback. It's an amazing thing. I'm sure you have many other tips, but I just want maybe one more or maybe two. What is the next step then when I sit down and I can say, I have the best product?
The best product. I think I even probably posted this on my social media yesterday. At any point where you think you have a great product that fits a certain market, guess what? From the next day, your customer begins to evolve. Your customer is not static. Your customer's needs go changing. Your customer begins to acquire knowledge or skills that make them, maybe want to evolve how they are consuming your product. So the one thing you can never take for granted is your customer, understanding your customer. A lot of people take understanding customers from face value. I know him, Maina, he's ex-gentleman, he's years, and all my other customers are just like him. So you maybe create a persona and say, I have the Maina persona for, for my customers. But the thing is, like, they all continue to consume your product in a way that things are changing. Maybe they're growing older, maybe they're getting married, maybe they're changing jobs, maybe. So if they were buying a product from you for 1,000 bob, if they have more money, maybe they're willing to spend 2,000 or 3,000 bob on a similar product. So can you create a premium version of that product and evolve with them? Of course, there'll be others coming through that are just like them, but as they evolve, is your business evolving to meet their needs as they grow? Because you'd find, there's a concept to talk about the lifetime value of a customer. What's the lifetime value of a customer? And when a customer comes maybe at age 20 and maybe they buy drinks from you, at age 30 they have more money. Potentially, because their career has grown, they're earning more. Maybe they have more pressures as well because now they're married and they have a wife and,
more responsibilities,
children, more responsibilities. So it may be pressure for them to spend on you, but it could also be an opportunity. If you're selling a drink to the father, is there a drink you can sell to the mother, and is there a version you can sell to the children? So the market has expanded. So it's never settling down for, just to look at your client at face value. The question is, what's happening with your client as you serve them?
Okay.
How are they evolving? How are they growing? How is their lifestyle changing? And how can your business continue to create products and services that meet their growing needs?
Yeah.
So maybe I started out by the fact that I'm selling, I don't know, shoes for men. Yeah. But as this guy grows, he'll need, his wife is buying shoes. He's buying shoes for his kids. So do you want to introduce a line for the children so that when he comes, he shops all at once? He doesn't have to go one shop for himself, another shop for his wife, another shop for the kids. Like, can you extend your products? Can you go beyond shoes and add socks and, other things that are
something
around
that companies
that? Can you add, that thing that they used to polish without the brush? Can you, think of innovative things that you can build around that same need?
Okay.
Because you find that when human beings consume a product or service, maybe there's other things they consume around it, and if you're not offering it, they're finding it somewhere else. So they're still spending that money somewhere.
Joram, let me throw this in, because as you're speaking, I picked it up.
Yeah.
One of the greatest fears entrepreneurs have is, I don't want to use the word undercutting, but it's the constantly things are evolving, and sometimes entry entrepreneurs will come, probably offer very competitive product, almost like yours. And then because they're desperate to get in, they have cost, they drop the prices, and one day you might wake up and hear, oops, you are a good supplier, but we have another offering same things but at a lower cost. And because as a business, wherever you're supplying, they want to save as much, they're gone.
Yes.
That's a fear.
It's a fear, and it happens in every industry. Every industry actually evolves like that. We actually talk about industry life cycles. When an industry is at its infancy, you find people make super profits. But as it grows and as many other people start to get in there and replicate the products or innovate around those products, you find the pricing going down. So it will happen whether you're selling shoes, whether you're selling software, whether you're selling financial services. That always happens in every industry. In fact, the term for it, we call it commoditization. When an industry gets to the place where if you're 10 of you, I could buy from any of you and I'll get the same product or service. And that's why I keep saying, if that commoditization is eventually going to happen, because even if you're the pioneer, your employees can see how you're doing stuff and they can see gaps. So they are going to quit at some point and go and start competing with you, and maybe even doing a better job where you're, those gaps were and you're not closing them. So there's no business that you'll set up that will run without any competition, unless it's like we call them monopolies, where either it's protected by law or something. You will always have competitors come in and, put pressure on your prices. So again, that's why you cannot sleep. That's why you have to keep understanding what are the growing needs of your customer. If they are looking at alternatives that are cheaper, what is it that you're not doing for them that they are just looking at price? What value is that you're not adding that they can go to someone else? Like I said, if you find multiple ways of attacking the customer and serving their growing needs, sometimes then it doesn't make sense for them to go and save money elsewhere when they find that it's multiple needs that are being met in this particular one location. So that means you're always looking at how to differentiate yourself by building more value onto how you sell your products or your services, or the value additions or the experience that they have. People are willing to pay a lot of money for coffee nowadays because of the experience that comes with having the coffee. It's not the coffee itself. If you look at how much goes into making that coffee, it's probably very little money. But I'm willing to pay hundreds because I sit in a
nice place. Pull up my laptop.
Pull up my laptop, have a meeting, and do all this. So the real product there you're selling is not the coffee; it's the meeting that you're selling.
It's a good strategy.
And when you look at it from the point of view that I'm selling a meeting, then you ask yourself, how do I make this place the best meeting place ever? Maybe people want some kind of nice jazz background music, or I've seen some people removing sockets from their locations because they think people.
I have seen that as well. I will not mention names, but I've seen that.
But that's a value add. Maybe by the time the person comes and I'll even give my example, before I had, a location where I could work well from, I would sit there all day, but I would have 3 meetings. So I would invite 3 people, probably who have more money than me, have meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, and they are paying. So you may see me as just consuming that socket, but you're not seeing the additional business that's coming as a result of the meetings that I'm having there with people who have more money than me. So look at a complete picture. Don't just look at a customer as, one central person coming to have 1 cup of coffee. Yet maybe the bigger picture of what they've done when they're there, is a lot more.
What do you say at Sandbox, the fact that now you brought in sort of like a 360 coverage for an entrepreneur, after you brought in, I like the examples you're giving, like that M-Pesa thing. What do you say after you brought in all these elements where an entrepreneur can just land in one place and feel, okay, I got all my areas covered? Has that brought what I would call, let me use the word success, to your venture, the way you're looking at it?
Yeah, I mean, you'd even be surprised because, there's a lot of unintended consequences of bringing people together. First of all, each of them had their own customers before they came in. So when they all come into one location and invite their customers, Sandbox has much higher traffic of customers than when it was just one company, Wild International. 2, there's a lot of efficiency in the referrals that happen internally and everything. So, the consolidated database of customers we are working with is quite huge. And I would say definitely it has contributed to the success of the different experts that we have there. It has contributed to the success of Sandbox. Because you have a whole army of 33, different non-competing experts. And as you mentioned earlier, I am sure people are going to copy this model down the line, because today we don't see any competition, not in Kenya, not anywhere in the world. But I am sure that down the line, we are going to have other people coming to compete. So we can't sleep. So we have to now think, now that we have all this, how do we integrate them? How do we build a platform where we are able to have visibility over how customers, are going through the system and how they are getting served? Are we able to tell if somebody working with 3 or 4 consultants makes more money than the person who's just working with 1? And use that in our marketing to encourage people and say, take up more services from here. So, there's still a lot to do in terms of how we integrate ourselves going forward, but we're excited about the challenge of evolving this model.
Great. Let's talk about retaining now customers, because we have our product, we have our amazing way. And as we are saying, we already introduced it in a way. But now we want to retain these guys. We don't want them to go, Because, I have experienced it as well. Sometimes, man, somebody so valuable just disappears and you're like, oh my. How do we? And I know, guys, I'm speaking for you. How do we maintain these guys in a way that they feel satisfied and they don't even think of alternatives? Just like the way we even call all soaps Omo.
Yes. So I think it's building loyalty at the beginning begins with first, never take a customer for granted. The fact that they came to you the first time meant that they had a need, but after that you need to fight to keep them, because I see a lot of people take more time looking for new customers than taking care of the ones that currently exist. So it's almost like, I was dating this person, and then once I got them, now I can take them for granted and I go looking for the next one of thing. But every customer wants to feel valued. They want to feel important. They want to feel that, you care about them, and even more than just the relationship where they're paying you, that you care for their success. So what are those things that you can be looking at the, always getting feedback about, is the experience working for you? Are there other needs that we could be meeting that we are not? Is there more we could build into this product or service that would, make you...
Just sort of getting feedback as well.
So feedback, is one of the most underrated things when it comes to running a business. You need to always have open channels of getting feedback. And like in this country, we have a challenge because our culture is such that, when people are unhappy with something, they just walk away rather than tell you they're unhappy with it. So how do you encourage channels of, it could be anonymous feedback, it could be feedback that, people give you directly. It could be regular feedback that you collect about satisfaction levels. So, feedback is everything. And I tell people, even go back to that M-Pesa client. Do they even know their customers.
Yeah.
Funny enough, they get their numbers and everything, but do they know? Do they ask them, fill in this survey? And it could even just be 2 or 3 questions of, are you satisfied with the service we are giving you here? Or what could we add to it? Simple questions like that, and you'll be shocked.
Yeah.
Sometimes I find, though, that entrepreneurs are afraid of getting feedback because they know there's certain things going wrong, and they are sometimes afraid to confront the fact that things are going wrong. But, I mean, just, you know, brace yourself, ask for feedback. People will tell you things you don't want to hear that will make you realize there are aspects of your product
will make
that
you
they're
better.
happy with. But if you act on those things, you actually find that you're building loyalty. Then down the line, there's many things you can do. You can put value adds for, you know, there are people who do like loyalty points, like you get, you know, when you're flying or something that, you know, if you're a regular customer, you can get discounts down the line.
Yeah.
You can
Makes you feel
get
nice.
value adds. You can, you know, you can get invited to our special events for our special client, top 10 clients. You can be part of this club of elite, you know, customers, VIP customers for me. And you get extra perks. So that it's not just about the product or service, but it's also about the experience that comes along with it. And those things that you build alongside, you know, running your business can help you. Now, it gets to a place where people feel like, you know, your family. They even feel like if they go to another business, you know, to consume the same thing, they feel like they're cheating on you because you have a strong relationship. And when you get to the people where people are that emotive about, you know, the relationship they have with you, it can do wonders for your business. It can open up even more channels now where they can tell you even about competitors. They can, you know, they feel like they're part of helping you grow your business. And it's very important to build that relationship.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think the last one is actually summing it up. Just that relationship. It's purely a relationship where, because when you are with an honest sort of conversation, someone will tell you, hey, you need to work on this.
Yes.
I'm happy with this. And those kind of things will help you build yourself up. Because I have seen people who have had 2, 3 clients for decades. And they're thinking, these guys have never turned anywhere else. But there's something that they know, and it's actually definitely that building that relationship.
Yes.
I can see a question about budding entrepreneurs, but we'll get to the questions first. Let's talk about, hey, this is the big thing in the room, financing. One of the hindrances of growth, people will always tell you, the money. You know, I can come to Sandbox, you know, you guys can put everything up, but I need the money to scale up.
Scale up, yeah. But I'll also say something very counterintuitive here. People look towards, you know, can I get sources of financing, like maybe a loan, or can I get financing from investors, or, you know, that kind of thing. There are circles in which we say your best investor is usually your customer.
Oh,
because,
that's an interesting one.
Yeah,
it's a nice way to look at it.
People don't see it like that.
Yeah.
Depending on the relationship you have with your customer, whether it's even a business to business or business to customer, you could, because they are holding money and they are consuming your product. I think you may have seen when Elon Musk was launching Tesla, he gets people to pre-buy, where they prepay a certain amount to book
before,
you know, the product
before even the product is out.
What's that? That's financing. They're pre-financing to, you know, run his business. And also giving a strong idea of what the demand is like. So he can go and say, look, I've raised X amount of money from people pre-buying my... This is before the product even exists. And then down the line, I already have 1 million people who've pre-bought. So that's a sign that they are willing to go all the way and buy. So I can even get now other financing from someone else to finance the rest of the process. And then as they go purchasing, you know, that can come to an end. So you can, if you have big clients who say 30 days, but you have a really, really good relationship with them, you could convince them to prepay 50% for the service. And that way, then you don't need to go and get financing from somewhere else. That can at least cover, you know, for a significant portion. You can get people to pre-book or pre-buy, you know, your products or something. So you can have payment terms where you always make sure there's always a down payment of some sort, you know, or, I mean, there are many ways you can, so your customer is your number one most important investor, which is why it's very important to make them happy. And when you have a growing loyal customer base, then those numbers are what help you go to other people like investors or banks and the like and say, look, I have a growing number of customers. I'm unable to fulfill the demand that's coming from them. Can you finance me now to be able to? Because the thing about financiers is that they're usually afraid of, you know, will this money come back? But where will it come back from? It will come back from customers. So I mean, we really underrate customers. Customers are really, really important to how our business
this is such an interesting way of looking. I have never thought about that, by the way. That, because the moment an entrepreneur thinks about financing, loans, banks, whatever, Shylocks, these guys, circles, all these forums, but you forget the asset of the customers who believe in you.
Yes.
Which are actually easier to convince.
They are easier to convince, and if they love your product,
because they love it,
they'll do amazing things for you. They'll be willing to wait as long as it's great, and there are people, they'll be willing to do a lot of things for you down the line that could turn around your business. So, I mean, customer intimacy, just focus on that customer. Look at what can make them get to the place where their tank is full. They have very positive emotions towards this business. That happy customers or loyal customers are even very forgiving. Sometimes they'll even wait for you to be the one to bring something. Well, they could get it somewhere else because they want to get it from you. Okay. Because they know that down the line, if there's a problem or something, you will sort it out. They don't want to take the risk with somebody new. So it's really about giving. I always say, be obsessed about your customer. Like, be obsessed about them being happy, being satisfied, giving you feedback. Meeting all their needs and fulfilling all their needs. If you're able to do that, it will do wonders for your business.
I like this question. The lure of the much paying customer. And I think I want to rephrase it differently. You have pre-existing, amazing customers, they're happy, and then there's this one who comes, is almost giving you everything that all these other ones are giving you at a go. It's very easy to sort of give a concentration. How do you balance that so that you still, these small guys who only used to buy, if it's a duka, they used to buy one unga. This one is buying in bundles,
Yes. How do you... I've even written articles about this because I think people, again, tend to give a disproportionate amount of attention to big brand customers. And sometimes they don't realize that these big customers, yes, may be paying millions, but they are also the ones who pay you late in 60, 90, 120 days. They're also the ones who have, the power, it's called buying power, to really negotiate and push your price down and all these sorts of things. And so I've always advocated, especially for SMEs, that, the big brand customers may not be your best first customers. They may be able to pay a lot of money, but they're very demanding. They put a lot of pressure on your financing needs because, if they're buying something worth 10 million and not doing a down payment and paying you after 30 days, to bridge that gap, you have to look for financing. But the smaller customers, sometimes are happy to prepay or, do a down payment or, that kind of thing.
Some of them don't keep it.
They are many of them, so you don't have a risk. Even if one goes, you have 9 left and you can always replace the one or something of the sort. And I've actually done this practically with clients where I tell them, stop looking at the big brand customer, look at the second and third tier and create a product where these people can prepay you. Do you know their businesses usually take off and go from the place where they even need financing or are struggling to repay loans to now we are being prepaid so we can refinance everything. We can even finance the big deals because we're not borrowing from, borrowers anymore to get that going. I had somebody who I worked with once on strategy, and we just got him to start supplying. He was in the manufacturing space. He used to do packaging. And, the big players would take a very long time to pay him. So he was always in debt, always borrowing money from here to pay here, borrowing from here to pay here. Told him, just look at your second and third tier customers. And they would order much smaller quantities, but they would pay in advance. And then they would come every week rather than the big player who, orders once in 6 months or something and then takes a long time to pay you. That guy's business went from doing about 800,000 a month to 12 million shillings a month. So don't despise them. So don't despise the small players. Those small players, find a way of efficiently serving them. They'll grow your business. They'll grow your business. They'll refinance you. They'll reduce your need for financing and the like. They'll build for you a stable business where the cash flow is coming regularly. So I am a complete advocate. I could have built a consulting firm that works with large players where I have 2 or 3 customers paying me a lot of money in a year. but I'll be competing against other big brands. But I went after SMEs, and I'm literally in a playing field where there's hardly anyone else competing for the same amount of work. So I just needed to figure out an efficient way to do it. Yeah.
So let's talk about the service industry, because a lot of the customers we are trying to retain, most of them get an identity with you as a person.
Yes.
And then in the process of growth, you realize you may not be present with all, you know, maybe, for example, if you're in the service industry, you have 3 clients happening in the same week. And so you end up getting customers, when they see your persons who well-trained, fully trained, everything else, they still have the question of, where is Joram, you know? I must give you credit, because I came to your place, I was trained, not even by Chris, not you, by other guys, and I'm happy, you know? Maybe it's because I understand the model, you know? But they are clients who, I don't care, I have to see Joram.
Yes, and I was going to tell you, and I'm glad you brought it up, that I've actually done it practically. So, you know, there are ways of going about this. A lot of people will build a business, and then they'll put themselves at the center of the business right from the beginning.
That's a mistake.
So, if you think back, you will realize you probably have never seen a Wild or Sandbox poster for a program that has me or Chris on it. Because when you put yourself there, you're putting yourself as a product. And so people will come expecting to experience that product. And so when you give them something else, that becomes a challenge. I think very deliberately from the beginning, we had decided we are going to build the company brand. So we were very keen about not putting Joram on the poster or Chris or, you know, putting other of our team members on that, so that people can see that there's other people in this organization who can do this. For clients who I had served personally, and even when I was transitioning out, because 2 years ago I left and handed over to Chris, and you know, there's clients that I used to deal with one-on-one. And before I left, I just would start to say, go with Chris for you know, assignments. Then I would, you know, introduce what we are going to do, and then Chris would stand up and take over and do everything else. And so that it starts to educate the client that, oh, everything has just been done by this guy. Something else that I do, you know, when people call me and they're like, you know, want you to come and do something X, Y, then I'm like, let me tell you the truth. I have this guy in my company who does an even much better job than I do.
I like that.
And I, you know, talk up their credentials and build confidence in there. And I'm like, you just spend a day with him, and then you leave and tell me. And maybe the first time I'll go with that particular person, but they'll do everything. And by the end, the customer is happy and everything, but then they realize it's not Joram who did it. So the next time, even if I don't show up, they were working with that guy anyway, and they're happy to continue with them. And that's literally what happened with all my clients at Wild. Either Chris or Kirina, my other you know, co-director, are handling them. And surprisingly, the company has actually grown. They're actually doing bigger things with the same customers that I used to work with. I mean, it can hurt your ego a little bit to realize that, you know, things can continue to work better after you leave. But for me, you know, that's a mentality that I wish all entrepreneurs had, that you're building a business that can survive without you, and you're very deliberate about it. So you're looking at building the brand, you're looking at bringing people on board who you will train to be even better than yourself, so that when they go out to serve the customers, they do an equal or even better job. But it's something that you have to be consciously deliberate about.
Wow, you know, you're dropping gems. I'm taking notes. Let me guys give you a few. Never take a customer for granted. Powerful there. Whatever the size of the customer, your best investor is actually your customer. That one hit me hard. Build your company brand. So what's the lesson here for the entrepreneur? Especially this, I think the service industry is the one that people like seeing the people. What's the lesson here when it comes to building a team, if I may use that? What's your quick advice to them then?
I think it's important to first realize, what is it about yourself that people like? Is it the kind of concern and care? Is it how you handle them? Is it you know, is it how you explain things to them that makes them endeared to you? And take those unique elements about yourself and build them into a process. So that if you bring other people, first, make sure you're hiring the best that you can afford. Make sure you're hiring people who share your values or who have the kind of character or personality that fits in line with what it is that your business does. So if you're all about excellence and integrity, don't get someone who's not excellent, who doesn't have integrity. Like, make sure you get people who are aligned to the values that your business is trying to push first and foremost. So do everything possible through your recruitment process to identify that those things exist. Wow. But once they come in, those things that you had picked out as unique elements of how you do your work, train them through that process. Make sure they are also following the same way of doing things, so that if I came to Joram and then I go to, say, Anne or someone else in the business, I will not feel like I got a different experience. They'll have gone through asking the same questions. They'll have gone through, and those things can be documented. Make it a process that you have to go through this process, ask these questions, ask this, for this documentation, probe with these kind of questions, tell the client the truth about, these certain issues. So if you're able to replicate what you do in other people, then you'll find that the customer experience is generally seamless, and people then don't mind. Sometimes you'll even find I have customers who don't want to deal with me at all. They're like, me, I just love working with Chris.
Yes,
the way Chris works with them very well. Or I just love working with this other person because how they work with them. So you find that even your employees or your team members will bring their own uniqueness into how that thing is done, that you find their customers will actually prefer to work with them than maybe because you're maybe not as warm or as
bubbly as the others,
bubbly as so people tend to gravitate towards. And then that diversity that you build within your team also brings that interesting difference, that you're not all the same. You can actually offer variety even within your team to your customers, and people choose and pick what works best for them. And bringing those different perspectives now, even as you meet as a team and discuss products, discuss customers, discuss services, everyone brings a different perspective. You find that someone is able to pick out certain things about the customer that you are unable to. And that adds value as to how you end up serving them. So the diversity is great when you're building a team.
Wow, I like that. I have one more question that I can ask the online questions. My question is about the team now, because now you've gotten into that, and I have seen sometimes entrepreneurs get to the pain of, I have built this person, but I think their wings have now grown,
I see where this is going.
I know, right? And it's a pain sometimes, because sometimes the way, I'm not gonna, Chris, I hope he's not watching. Chris then decides, you know what, I got my wings, let me fly, those kind of things. It can be painful because of the investment you put there together, How do you also retain? I know we're talking about retaining customers as well, but there's also the level of the team, because in a way, they build an ecosystem that comes out as a good force for your brand and the company as well. How do you retain such? Because I've seen places where there's loyalty. Guys have served for years. And guys don't even think, I want to stay. No, I'm happy here. How do you do that?
I think there are a lot of studies that have actually been done that show that people are willing to even take slightly less pay if the working environment is great. If they feel the working environment is supportive, is loyal to them, is caring, is all these things, you find that people are actually willing to hang around a bit longer. Of course, you can't always keep them. I've gone through it a lot because we are very good at developing talent. As soon as we hire people in 2 or 3 years, you find other people are looking for them, and sometimes they offer them 3 times the salary. So you really can't compete, with larger companies. But there is a different way of also looking at it in terms of if you build them, they become great at what they do, and then they move. They become your ambassadors wherever they go. And I'll tell you that in many cases, where in companies where my ex-employees have gone to, we actually end up getting business from them because they go inside, and because they had such a great experience working with us, they become such loyal advocates. Anytime they're seated in a meeting and somebody is looking for something that's in line with, then they'll refer them to us. So actually don't see it as a bad thing. I always say, build that talent, let them go into the different companies that will look for them. They become your ambassadors there, and they also become your biggest advocates. They'll end up creating a lot of business for you wherever it is.
So there's a positive element.
So it's a positive thing. So just make sure you have a system internally that is good at recruiting and developing good people. They'll always leave, but you will have so many salespeople and ambassadors out there. in different organizations, spreading the word about your business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, it's another way of looking at it. It's the other side of the coin, right? So 2 questions here. I think this is quite broad. What's your advice to budding entrepreneurs? That's one, because I think we have about 3 minutes, so I'll just throw them to you right away. And then, this one just came up. How do you build that warm environment? I think it's with regards to retaining, so that people can feel the environment was fine. Yeah. Let's start with the person of advice to budding entrepreneurs.
Yeah, budding entrepreneurs. Focus on build the best product that you can ever build or service. Be obsessed about making sure that your product is great for your customer, which means you're spending a lot of time understanding your customer, getting feedback from your customer, and building that product to be the best that it can ever be. So never relax. Like, don't ever sleep on the job when it comes to, improving your products, and don't ever just think that this product that I created 5 years ago is still relevant. No, keep improving it as you go along. How do you create a warm environment? I think people like to work for caring bosses, people who are not just concerned about the money they make from you, but people who are also concerned about your growth, your development, and your well-being. Yeah. So if you build an environment that's able to do that for the employee, you're able to build that loyalty for a longer period of time.
That sounds broad. Yeah. I feel like I wanted to ask you so that I can take something home, just one. I know I came to your office and had very nice lunch. Maybe that's one of it, but I don't know. But what is this one? Just one or two?
I would say it's those extra things you'd do. Do you recognize, people's birthdays? Do you recognize that they come from a family, so at the end of the year you have like gift packages for them and for their children or something? It's it's going that extra mile. Is that when somebody is unwell or going through a difficult time, can you give them time off to go and go through the grief and then come back? Can you sign them up for grief counseling and pay for it as a company? What are those extra small things you can do for your employees that make them realize it's not just about the money you make. You're not just a machine. You're a human being. They care about you. They care about your growth. They would pay for you to go for training. They would, you'd buy them books to read, or that there's something they really want to do. I've seen a company that has what they call, I've forgotten the name, but they have a team internally. This is a slightly larger company. They have a team internally whose job is simply to find out the well-being of their employees and do things for them. So if they know you like hiking, once in a while you'll get a voucher that says, look, you can go on this hike on us whenever you have time. If they know you like music, that Christmas you find a guitar, in a box as a gift. I mean, there are people who do crazy things out there to go all out for their staff members. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be expensive things. It's the things that count. It's going out for lunch, taking them out for lunch, celebrating something when they've done something great. Yeah. I had this employee, and it was unfortunate they passed on due to a very tragic thing. Oh. But they had only been with us, I think, for 3 months. Yeah. And then they graduated. Yeah. And when they graduated, I showed up for the graduation, and the family was shocked that the boss showed up for the graduation. Hey. And this guy has not even been there for long. I'm like, but he's my employee. Why wouldn't I? He invited me. Yeah. Why wouldn't I show up? Such things go a long way in, I mean, we are still friends with the parents until today because of that. Like, they actually feel like we are part of their family because of something like that. Wow. Yeah.
I'm liking the gems. I think I'll have to even go and listen to this again. 2 final things. One, please comment on building trust, because I think there's somebody who has asked that. Yeah. Building trust within your, I think, employees, definitely, and even customers, I guess. And then finally, I want you to talk about the big baraza that you're about to do.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think trust is usually low when there's lack of information and lack of transparency. So people feel like when you're hiding something, they don't know, can we trust this person? Can we not? And so I find that trust is best built in an environment where you're open, you're transparent with information that concerns those people. Yeah. So like in my company, we look at financials and everything together. There's no hiding that we are making money, and so if we're doing well, everyone knows. If we're doing badly, everyone also knows we're doing badly, and we all work towards it. And also, keeping your word is also important. where if you say you're going to do something, then, you do it. Or if you're not able to, you come back and say, these are the challenges that I'm facing in doing that thing. But, so that people get to see down the line that you're reliable, you stick to your word, you're somebody who can be trusted.
Yeah.
The Big Baraza, we have a 2-day conference that's coming up. Monday and Tuesday, 30th and 31st. It's an SME conference. If you just go and check out Big Baraza online or on all social medias, they'll come up. We are going to have amazing conversations around the SME ecosystem. We've brought amazing speakers, people who've built great businesses here in Kenya. And, so we have people like the guys who built Craft Silicon and Little Cubs. Kamal is coming to tell his story. People like Mary Ngeshu. Mary Ngeshu has built factories, 3 factories.
Mary Ngeshu has been here.
She's been here.
Yeah, man. She's amazing.
Powerhouse in the manufacturing space. She's coming to tell her story how, as a woman, she's built resilience in a space that you'd usually not find, people like her, and how she's done that. And now she's even the chair of the SME section at KEPSA and East Africa Business Council. We have people like Julian Kula coming to tell his story, how he built Mode and how now he's, onto a second business that he's building, and what that journey was like, having investors, growing, globally and getting celebrated globally, and then having to, leave the business and come to a second business. Ken Joroge, who's built Cellulant and also left, will be there. Rina Hicks will be coming to talk about her experience, in her family business, and also helping entrepreneurs think about how to build sustainable business. So we have amazing speakers. We also have corporates coming. Chris Senanu from Safaricom, who's an entrepreneur and also the chief enterprise business officer at Safaricom, coming to talk about how Safaricom is engaging SMEs and what to do in that space, how are they innovating. Kenya Airways, we do have KRA, Kenya Bureau of Standards, the regulators are coming. We want to have hard conversations with them. So really, we are just going to have like 2 days of intense conversations about SMEs. I think we're going to have a great time. We are, shooting for 500 people. I think there's still a chance for people to sign up if they want to. And we hope to do this annually. We did it last year virtually. Now we are doing it physically. So we're looking forward to having a great time with that.
There you have it. Please sign up. It's more like a theater of entrepreneurs. Go there, whatever place that you seek, you will get healed. You never know. Wow, Joram, this is amazing. Mike Kubai, this is so good. Thank you, Joram and MC. That's a good friend of mine. Thanks a lot as well for tuning in and checking us out. Oh, such an amazing conversation. An hour is not enough. It's not enough. I would have asked you so many other questions. I think we will have a lot of this. Because there's so many conversations within the ecosystem of an entrepreneur. And we are very proud to be associates as well of the Sandbox and what you guys are doing. The conversations as well that we've been having are very enriching to people. And there will still be, this video will still be up. We'll cut it into pieces for guys to check it out. But really, a shout out to you for really giving us this session.
Thank you for inviting us, and we look forward to more of such conversations down the line.
There you have it. There you go. That's Biztalks. It's 8:04 a.m. So you better go back and work on that business. Remember those tips that we have given you. Cheers. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. And to some, they have